peace. How we sounding, how we feeling, how we doing. This is the Hood Mystic representing www.hoodmystic.com. Here to talk about a full moon which is taking place August 15th, 2019. Before I get into anything, let's first deal with the Patreon family. patreon.com/hoodmystic. The Patreon family, we do the monthly moon sign readings, and from there we are going to start those on the 4th. So August 4th we will begin the monthly moon sign readings. I got a busy day tomorrow, and I want to make sure that I'm giving the monthly moon sign readings my full attention. So pass it on to other Patreon members. But yes, I'll put a message on there. So just wanted to let that be known first and foremost. Now that that's out the way, let's get into this full moon, which takes place August 15th, 2019. And yeah, a lot of major things, a lot of culminations happening, a lot of planets going direct, Jupiter, Mercury going direct, and the energy moving in a positive way based upon true understanding. So part of this conversation is establishing conversation and truth. The second part of this conversation is now how to begin to work with these new parts, work with these new understandings. It's like the first day of martial arts school. One would really be there to learn and understand the martial arts versus already knowing how to do martial arts because you've seen every Bruce Lee movie. So there is a difference between learning and already knowing, and I just use that analogy in referencing spirituality or consciousness as a conversation me and my wife had earlier. And this, what is the difference? And not to get into that, whatever you tend to call it, if new information is sent down the pike, if you get an upgrade or you get a download, one would want to begin to understand what this new information is, as opposed to just already knowing and continuous on with these same old programs, same old mishaps that we've been inundated with, and begin to step out, reorganize, redirect, re-understand, and establish a relationship with ourselves. Understanding that all of this mythology, all of these fancy things that we see on the spiritual side are just representations of motifs and archetypes and different ideas of our inner workings. So when you discuss all of the Vedic texts and all of the Vedic understanding, whether it's Shiva and all, 4,000 years worth of history, they're not talking about anything external. So that's kind of the big missing piece in understanding this full moon. Even so, I had like a real good dream about it that I'll kind of get into. I'll get into it within the introduction and kind of just set this conversation up. And hopefully everybody's feeling good. Peace to everybody. And these conversations are not for entertainment. They're not to get you fully engaged and to suspend your imagination and, to get you caught up in the things that I'm saying and the things that I'm showing you. These conversations, specifically how I have them set up, are for educational purposes only. You know what I'm saying? Understanding information based upon things that I have learned, and now I'm expressing what I've learned. Is just a intergalactic book report, if one might say. And so maybe you don't have the time to look into your astrology or look into the current transits, see what Mercury is doing and things of that nature. And so for the mere fact of you not being able to do it, you automatically assume that it's not necessary. Well, we've been developing ourselves over these daily energy readings and moon cycles and developing what I would like to call a magician self that needs this shit, that devours this information, even if you don't get it on a conscious level. And to double down on that is not to say that this information is not rationable and not applicable at your rational level, but you may not have time to fully incorporate it within your conscious mind as of yet, but you'll tend to see the purpose for it all the longer or the more that you're able to invest in yourself and understand yourself, and yourself being super complex and super large and super massive. It's like a world unknown to itself, outside of the physical realm. So the physical realm for people is so serious and so majestic and so powerful, but that's just a mere television show to a whole intergalactic system and ability, which is known as the soul. So the soul thus is then trapped in this system we call life. In my dream, there was like this red box. People would go to this red box and they would get movies. And what they would do with the movies, they wouldn't put them in a DVD player or anything like that. They would eat them. And once they eat the movies, they would move into this catatonic state and be immersed into the movie, as I was immersed into my dream. But as I abstracted and kind of moved away, and because I remembered that this person was watching a movie, I remembered that this person wasn't necessarily the character that they were portraying. They were just kind of caught up in the movie. And then when I looked at their body, it was in this catatonic, almost dead-like state. And I'm sitting there like, man, that's profound, because that helps me really understand, because I typed this article yesterday and the dream just really helped me understand the article at a deeper level. So I tend to do that a lot, and it's very helpful to have very deep things and things you don't fully understand or fully grasp and can't fully speak to it. Give it up to the dream world, and then your dreams will begin to unravel, because once you're asleep, it's not like you stop thinking. It's like your body is recharging, but your mind is constantly going. So I tend to really give it hard shit to kind of break through. It's not like the simple stuff, because the more that we investigate life and its complexities and its advancements, the more that we can understand and apply and digest and really procreate and dissociate with each other at this level of advancement, as opposed to just simply dealing with each other on the basic human level. Hey, my name's Tommy. I'm from Cincinnati. This, that, and the third. I really want some pussy. You know what I'm saying? Hi, my name's Shireen. I'd be meaning not to say it, because that was a name. The interesting thing about Shireen, that was a name that I would just used to pull out of like the ethers and shit. But then, like, as I kept doing it, it was a actual Shireen. Like, yo, you keep mentioning me in your videos, son. So I just be trying to think of, like, when I be trying to come up with analogies, I try to think of people that I don't know, because I don't want to associate anything with them in my weird ass analogies. Because, so rewind, since we live, hypothetical Lisa, I just want to get married, and that's the only reason that I view men as potential husbands. So I don't tend to get to know people or respect people or love people or know people, do husband material or not, you know. So generally we don't necessarily get to sit and deal with people at this particular level, because if we're not physically attracted to them, if we're not mentally attracted to them, if we're not emotionally in sync, then it's as if people don't truly exist. But once you deal with the spiritual, you tend to find people with learning disabilities to be deeply connected to the spiritual journey, people of all different races, people of all different nationalities, people of all different languages. And what tends to happen is that you burst out of your shell of life, and it's not just a black thing or a white thing, more as it's a human thing, and this limitation to life. Because the more that you expose yourself to language, to culture, to traveling, to people, the more you learn more about yourself. The problem with Western society is that it gives us a language, it gives us a culture, and we try to sit and master that, and then we try to bring spirituality into the movie before we step out of the movie. So no matter what you do in this simulation, your greatest heights, it's still gonna be in the simulation. It's like you have a season on NBA 2K or Madden, and you win the championship, and you go to the bar and try to celebrate with niggas, and niggas is just not gonna understand. You in your own world. So to kind of step out of that, step out of the personal beliefs, step out of the matrix, understand the universe at its most abstracted level. We deal with the planets just to kind of, whet your appetite, but it's also asteroids. It's all types of different shit that your soul can lead you to. But you have to kind of be open enough to begin to understand that you and your soul is one, because what this will culminate August 15th is a lot of things. It's going to be the end of a Sun Cancer cycle. It's going to be an end of a Mercury retrograde, because where Mercury becomes fully direct and outside of its retrograde shadow, it will be the same day as the full moon. So a lot of it is really tied, because if I'm not mistaken, Mercury went retrograde on the new moon. So by the time we come around to this full moon, it will be completely out of shadow zone. So in discussing this Mercury transit or Mercury retrograde transit, which we'll discuss in the step away from the matrix portion, what we'll be tapping into is just, who are you becoming? Who are you developing? Who are you creating as far as integration of the soul within the personality? Very, very big, major stuff, man. And what else is happening is Jupiter is going to be direct. Jupiter goes direct on the 11th, but we'll be able to talk about it because it will be beginning to move and beginning to groove and beginning to understand, I am this person, I am this man, I am this woman, but you still doing the same shit, or you stepping out of your boundaries and being able to walk in the space of reward based upon the risks that you've taken, and not just the simple risk that you've taken, the hard work and effort and kind of grit and elbow grease to really get something popping that was very deeply esoteric, very kind of abstract, but you really put the work in and brought it into this space, and that was risky, but you're dealing with the rewards based upon a somewhat of a cosmic alignment and a cosmic understanding of beginnings and beginnings of truth, beginnings of power. And all of this is tied into the devil. We'll talk about the devil. Who is the devil? What is the devil? When was the devil created? What does the devil represent? Is the devil good? Is the devil bad? I would never say that an energy is good nor bad until I fully understood it. And even if I didn't understand it, I would keep searching and seeking and knocking and begging to understand something till I fully understood it, because what we would see is a prominent, powerful energy, and people saying that it's good, people saying that it's bad. Well, shit, they say that about Trump. People love Trump, people hate Trump. You can't get a real clear, concise of particular energy by having particular good, bad emotions about it. Until you sit down and really get eye to eye, face to face, and, feel that person's vibe, then you don't necessarily know nothing about this person. So when it comes to the devil, immediately bad, right? Immediately bad. So we removed that immediately bad and began to investigate and try to see how this energy all ties into, weaving this picture, connecting this puzzle, and just really creating some powerful information and powerful energy that, if one is to backtrack to the empty your cup daily energy reading, which I feel personally really set it off. We've been really on a train of self-discovery, and I'm very much grateful for people that's been rocking with me to kind of be like, well, yeah, I'm like, the certain things that you're saying and certain ways that I'm feeling and is really aligning with what I'm going through. And I'm just like, yeah, because I'm in that same space too. Because what generally happens with these daily energy readings and the full moon, if we're going to talk about astrology and we're going to talk about these things, they have to be relative to you. So generally, when we get on here and we begin to converse, we are very much attached to what we're saying, as opposed to people who just simply say things that they're not really attached to, but gets all the attention and, moves all the metrics and things of that nature and gets you riled up and get you emotionally attached to it and so forth and so on. We want to separate ourselves from that and really begin to speak to things that really truly help me. But a lot of people have been asking, well, not even asking for advice, I've been giving them advice. You can help people, then help people. Stop throwing pity parties every day for yourself, right? About how shit ain't for you, when it's more or less a perspective. In this nakshatra, we separate our minds in the way that we've been thinking about our lives, and we transfer that energy down to our hearts. And why would we want to do that? Because our heart is known to be 10,000 more times powerful than our mind when it comes to manifestation, when it comes to love. You ever tried to love somebody with your mind as opposed to loving them with your heart? You ever done something because your heart was in it versus doing something that you thought was the right thing to do? So we want to bring everything down to the heart. We want to understand life from every perspective, being heart-centered. But we have to deal with particular revelations. We have to understand how the heart works, because even in me saying heart consciousness is like blarp it's the same difference. You gonna get off of this live and start thinking with your mind, because that's how we were taught. That's what we was really focused on, learning and exploring and expanding our mind. But when it came to our heart, what's the conversation? What's the dialogue? What's the script? what's the instructions? What's the manifest in working with the heart? Everybody's focused on the mind, so I'm moving the energy into revelations of the heart as we move forward with these daily energy readings. And that's just simply based upon an alignment of this lunar mansion being the 23rd nakshatra. The 23rd and the 26th being powerful numbers during this full moon energy. More or less a a severe preparation for blessings and greatness for those who want to engage with the soul. And I'm at the point of my life and in my study where a person might ask, well, what if people don't actually deal with the soul and they're like deep in the ego? What's going to happen to them? It's kind of the same thing as what's going to happen to the people in Grand Theft Auto that I drive by. Remember, I drove by them prostitutes in Grand Theft Auto? Like, what's going to happen to that prostitute? Like this, you can't really fathom people that's locked in the matrix, locked in the mind matrix, locked in the external world, locked in the idea that something external is going to really bring them the joy and satisfaction that they've been burning and desiring their whole entire lives. I'm here to tell you there's nothing external for you that's going to satisfy you long term. The only thing that can salvation that brings upon salvation, brings upon revelation, brings upon great change is the heart. Learning to live from your heart, learning how to, one of the deacons that the third deacon of Capricorn is actually ruled by the sun. The third deacon of Capricorn would be symbolic of a Fortune 500 company, and the insanity of a Fortune 500 company not to have a specific department for philanthropy. That would never happen. That's why you have Pelotonia. That's why you have, American Red Cross, jogging, walk for cancer, all of these, charitable things that these corporations put on, and albeit a front, it's a necessity. You can't reach higher levels of anything and not have a particular percentage or a particular, you would have to give back. It's like being the reason why people don't last long in the drug game is not because they can't hustle, because they don't know how to give things away. They don't know how to take care of the community, help the single moms and things like that, because it was people like that in the olden days. Now everybody's for self and they don't last very long. And you'll see that with people mentally, survival, attaching themselves to the physical world. You'll see it start to kind of fade away, and they'll go batshit crazy because they were never attached to anything that was real. The only thing is real is the heart, is the soul. And this symbol, this energy that reigns on top of the 23rd nakshatra, the energy that reigns on top of the third deacon of Capricorn, moving into the first 6 or so degrees of Aquarius, is this energy of Nataraja, dancing Shiva, this cosmic energy flow. Because if you abstract your mind and really think about it, like in our minds, if we haven't reached the top, we imagine that once we reach the top, we could just chill. We could just relax. But power is never sustained through that way of thinking. Power is sustained through inheritance by your kids taking up the mantle and continuing on something that you started in this moment. So we're dealing with the origins now of divinity, sovereignty. And the primary premise is that grown ass people, right? And I'm gonna say this to all my grown ass people in the live, anybody that watched this video, it ain't about you. It's about these babies and their babies and their babies. It's about what are we setting up for them? What is the world that we are giving them? What are we passing down to them? You would have to have a heart to understand that, though. In your mind, it's all about you and your personal imaginary illusionary space, and it's not about the people that you help from the heart. So very, very powerful time, man. The 5 symbols, or some of the things that this statue point out. First of all, Shiva is dancing on a midget, and let's just talk about that. Shiva out here dancing on a midget, and that midget is supposed to represent human ignorance, and I translate that to the human mind. The other symbol that he holds is the stretch this out real quick. The drum symbolizing creation. Man, something happened to where we got this reading or whatever about these drummings, and I just took it out to the park, took my drum out to the park, and was just walking around the park and just stopping and drumming and giving offerings. And something about that drum though, something about those drumming sessions really woke something up within me. And it's really sparked a major change in how I look at life and how I conduct myself, how I talk to my children. And it was the beating of the drum. It was the awakening of my Kundalini. It was like, all the time we talk about like, how do you awaken Kundalini? And it's like, oh, meditate, oh, da-da-da-da-da. Nigga, get you a drum and beat it, Beat that drum. If you don't got a drum, get you a pail, beat it. And the vibrations of the drum to my fingers throughout my body, it woke something up in me. So the drum being creation, one could understand that. And if you don't want a drum, you don't got no rhythm, there's hella videos on YouTube that provide those rhythms for you. Then he has the hand pose, fear not, protection. How can we begin to move forward with the mysteries and the powers of the heart if we scared of particular evil bad guys and boogeymen and things like that? How can we begin to learn to love one another? How can we begin to connect with our soul groups if we're still afraid of something bad happening to us? Thus, the creation tied into protection will allow us to move forward. Being surrounded by fire. So when you move with the primordial fire. You don't even exit the house. Shit, you don't even move around the house without that primordial fire, because that primordial fire is going to destroy anything not for your benefit. Confidence. So we move forward through the act of creation, through the act of Kundalini, and the Kundalini create in the form of protection. Protection creates the primordial fire that destroys anything not for our good. Embodiment. The foot placed on the ground. The foot planted on the ground, the foot on the neck of human ignorance, the foot on the neck of the mind. All we have to do whenever we get caught up in the mind, remember, would I have better results if I went with my heart or if I went with my mind? One would say, I know some people would say, no, I don't trust my heart. I follow my mind because my heart done got me into some messed up situations. No, baby, your heart was trying to teach you lessons that your mind kept getting you into. You learn the lesson, you move on. So embodiment, foot upon the ignorance, release the foot up. So is the foot in the air, well, the foot on the midget, well, the foot on, well, sorry. Foot on the little person, and then the other foot in the air, symbolizing true release. So it's kind of like the Irish river dance, constantly releasing and stepping upon ignorance and releasing, and just this constant cosmic dance, constant, every day, all day, non-stop dance, movement. Meaning that if you stop, the universe keeps on moving. You depressed, the universe keeps on moving. You sad, the universe keeps on moving. You don't feel like doing nothing, the universe keeps on moving. Technology going too fast, it's just moving. It's moving. It's the iPhone 58 coming out tomorrow. It's moving. Oh, it's moving too fast, Hood Mystic, man, because cosmic energy is taking over Saturn's energy, and the cosmic energy is a reality that we're slowly but surely moving into, where time as we know it will no longer exist, because quote unquote scientists will have to have full disclosure with human beings on the construct of time. Because as we know, we sit in the space and time of the Julian calendar. Meaning that if I can create your calendar, I can create your whole world. Meaning that the reason why sovereignty and tribal nations and nations outside of this one in particular create a whole different time structure. It's a whole different month. It's a whole different day. It's a whole different understanding of the place and time that we are in. So one would want to be fully engaged and fully understanding and all of this hot spiritual stuff. And as opposed to you having a deep and close relationship with dancing Shiva, understand that that ain't nothing that exists outside of you. That's that heart. That's your human heart. And it's like, your human heart? What do you mean, my human heart? What makes my human heart significant? Well, then, one, try to stop it. And two, try to imagine your life without it beating, constantly dancing, constantly doing that dance. Release. Ignorance. Like, this is your heart. We all got a heartbeat. And if the beat drop, you start dancing. You feel me? It's all relative. So this symbol within itself is not anything extremely deep until you start investigating your heart and making these connections. The first organ that we have is our heart. So here we are in the space of creation. Creation. Whew. How y'all doing, man? So the full moon, the sun and Venus will be at the very edge of Cancer, opposed the moon at the very edge of Capricorn. And these are sidereal placements. These are Vedic placements. These aren't Western placements. So the Western placements will have the sun and Venus in Leo, and the moon in Aquarius. I don't know why people do that, but I guess to kind of fit in and kind of keep the conversation consistent. But why speak about placements 24 degrees ahead of where they naturally are? So I tend to look at astrology from the placements from where they naturally are and deal with it and be kind of the weirdest guy. Not because I want to be. I wish everybody dealt with sidereal. It would make everything much more on point, much more understandable, because what we understand about astrology is perfect. We understand what the planets mean and, you know, the signs and everything. We need to be on one accordance on where they are and why they're there, because if we all look up at a telescope, we'll see, oh, the sun is in the constellation of Cancer, not in Leo. It only says it's in Leo on my computer. So you know, one of those things that I'm silently fighting for, but kind of made peace with it, and I don't even title my videos and what constellation that they're in anymore, because all it does is create arguments. What's the more important thing is if this resonates or if this is on point as you are dealing with your spiritual journey, because I don't deal with astrology within itself, because that to me is kind of stupid. I deal with astrology combined with psychology, combined with spiritual practice, and trying to formulate it feels like soul astrology, but I think that's been taken already, so gotta think of something else and try to describe my brand of astrology. That's besides the point. The sun, so after mentioning the placement, sun in Cancer, moon in Capricorn, where are these at within the constellation? So generally what we tend to deal with in astrology is, one, it's deacon, and two, it's Sabian symbol. Because if we're just gonna talk about, oh, the sun is in Leo, well, Leo is wide, Leo is vast, so what particular, well, Leo just carries with it a certain type of energy, and so since Leo carries with it this certain type of energy, this is what this full moon should represent. And it's like, whoa, I guess, but in that base general idea, there is more pinpointing that could possibly be done, and so that's what I choose to do. And even my thoroughness isn't as thorough as it possibly can be. I just try to be as thorough, like a threshold of thorough and informative past just thorough and talking for 5 hours trying to explain stuff. So yeah, the Sabian symbol for which the sun is at, though, speaks to a level of clairaudience, and Capricorn speaks to a level of let me see, I forgot. Anyways, no, it's kind of important as me explaining what exactly the rise of these natural abilities is, so it's not going to take me long to figure out. Hopefully. Take a little quick breath, have a little drink, you know what I'm saying? I think I found it. Oh yeah, so Capricorn speaks to a large aviary. I wasn't going to never remember what that meant, but now it's triggered. So a large aviary is a flight of geese traveling south. So if the sun is in the space of clairaudience and the moon is in the space of geese flying south, one would say, how did the geese learn or know how to fly south in the winter? A person would say they were born with that innate, inherent ability to just simply know the best thing for them. Clairaudience would speak to voices in our heads. Medical society would say you crazy for listening to voices in your head. So the balance would be into listening to the voices in our head from an innate, inherent perspective. An example it is, it's kind of embarrassing, but I ain't do nothing. It was just very weird. Yesterday, as I was researching this article, my wife and kids had left to go to the science museum. As soon as they shut the door, I heard something say, "It's time." I said, "What the hell? What you mean it's time? What? It's time?" And it was like, I heard this woman's voice in my head, like, "I want you." And I'm like, "You want me? Like, what in the hell?" And I'm like, I'm busy right now. I'm working on this article, I had to give you, like, I'm gonna have to chill. She was like, ooh, I like it when you deny me, but I'll be back. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this house, something else is happening. So I'm being real vulnerable right now because I know I'm not crazy, but I know without a matter of fact, I heard some different shit happening in my mind. If that's to happen to you, one would have to kind of really listen to it and understand, because the voices could be destructive and the voices could be helpful. One has to be clear enough to really differentiate the two, as opposed to the things that they have you do. Do you feel motivated or led to be destructive, versus are you led and motivated to reach out in the realms of love and understanding and education? Because I find that that's the solution as I'm just coming into this thing as kind of a student. By learning and then applying, it makes my presentation, it makes who I am or who I initially thought I was going to be much more dynamic, and it redirects my energy in such a way, and it takes control of my energy in such a powerful way that I'm just able to do things that I never thought that I'd be able to do. Even if I thought about, I'll give you a better example. Who I am now and who I am now, I would have never thought that I would be this person, because I've came such a long way. And I've came a long way by following spirit and being weird and a host of other things that we've discussed. And the rise of these natural psychic abilities and these downloads, and the fact to be clairaudient, to be clairvoyant, to be claircognizant, where these psychic abilities are coming online, and it's so exciting and it's so, so amazing. But if you're just thinking about your regular life and your external world based upon how good or how bad your life is, things could feel magical because everything's going right, or things could feel not magical at all because things are going wrong. The idea is we want to separate from that good and bad and move into a more realistic, tangible reality of the soul manifesting through the body. And the only way that we can begin to tap into this is revealing these psychic abilities that are online and on point with what people are dealing with in this moment. Like psychic abilities, letting it raise up, I truly believe that, people who have an ear for it, they really have something deep within them that needs to come to surface. Because that's me. That's who I speak to every day, man. You didn't even know how special you was. You used to think you was just a whole complete and total mess. But you begin to listen. You begin to follow. You begin to trust. Now look at you. You just think you the shit now, hood. You know what I'm saying? It just be crazy. It's mind-boggling for real. Because this is counter to everything that I thought I would be. And it's counter to everything that I was raised up to be. But something within me always directed me, man, you can't come to this church no more. Man, you gotta get out of this city. List goes on and on and on. Even in spaces where I'm just like, what the hell am I doing here? Man, we doing alchemy, baby. You just gotta be patient, man. You just gotta be patient. But we gonna pull you out of this situation like we pull you out of every situation. But this is something that you just need to experience. So, in fully understanding and fully processing this moon, if one was to say I'm psychic or I had psychic abilities, a simple solution to that would be to relax, right? Relax, step away from the matrix, Begin to listen to these inner vibrations or inner voices and really feel what resonates with you strongly, and then begin to act. And one might feel foreign to this energy, and one might completely write it off because the matrix pull is so strong. So like the analogy that I spoke to in the introduction in reference to my dream, it's like you've ingested the movie, and now the movie is something that is all you know. And the true self sleeps on the outside. The external world is a powerful drug. It's just one of those things that is just like strong. So how do we get to step away from the matrix, and like how do we get here? First and foremost, from an astrological perspective. As I stated earlier, Mercury will be coming out of retrograde, the retrograde shadow zone. Meaning that this particular space where Mercury will be on August 15th is the exact space where it began retrograde. It began retrograde on the Sabian symbol that speaks to craftsmanship, inner craftsmanship. And as it went retrograde, went direct shadow, all of these things, all of these placements, all of these movements and the shifts and adjustments have been all in the space of self-craftsmanship. Meaning that you give a craftsman a piece of lead, a piece of metal, and he makes an expensive ring. Meaning that we have the sleeping soul. We awaken the sleeping soul. The soul begins to craft and begins to recreate and deal with the physical self from an awakened perspective. And this is just Mercury. Square Uranus in its position in Aries, that Sabian symbol speaks to cosmic order. So we have this craftsmanship, and we have this cosmic order, and we have a square. So in between this, find that if you've been following this channel, this energy is very easy and simple to reconcile. I will craft the best me, because the best me is in alignment with cosmic order. Knowing, learning, understanding, re-educating myself on me is alignment with cosmic order. A lot of people don't follow my channel though, so it's not even a thing of to expect in humanity. A lot of people say, to hell with cosmic order, I'm going to do me, and I am already perfect. You see this booty that I have? You see these good looks that I have? Do you see my car? You see me playing Grand Theft Auto, riding a Benz? I'm out here really doing it. I got every cheat code. I be scamming. I got money. I got everything, bro, in Grand Theft Auto world. Congratulations, buddy. You are the donkey of the day. Because this world, this earth, with a sleeping soul, is simply Grand Theft Auto. It's wins and loses. It's gangs. You could do anything, be anything, but it's a part of the external world. So one has to kind of really backtrack, really get into a space where you could kind of understand, like, okay, shit, I haven't really refined or got to know myself at all. I've never done that. I've only related my experience to me and how I'm positioned in this Grand Theft Auto world. I felt that since I didn't have all of the stars that, you know, a Grand Theft Auto character would have, or maybe not Grand Theft Auto, maybe you play The Sims. I thought I was gonna have the nicest house, thought my personality was gonna be high. You know, I'm an ugly sim, my life is over. Or I'm a poppin' sim, simulations is what we find ourselves in, and trying to understand these simulations as opposed to stepping away from those simulations and beginning to refine the soul. Center yourself in spirituality. Recognize you have a higher self. Have you ever sat and thought, damn, I got a whole higher self out this piece? Like, I got a whole higher self. Or do you just think that your name is Ramon from the South Side? Tanjanika from over up the way? See, are we communicating and are we understanding ourselves from a higher self perspective, or are we just avatars in a goddamn Sims game trying to up our score? Whew. In our last video, we discussed myopia, which overall developing the magical self is the idea that we kind of want to work with and kind of understand and fledge out. And this makes this square much easier to deal with, because what you will see on the other side, outside of the esoteric, into the sim world, is that it's breaking down. You know, shit is going crazy. Shit is going haywire. They was real good at ordering and structuring the sim world to make you not think that you was in a simulation. Now they got Donald Trump as the president, and if that didn't give it up, you know, it's just getting crazier and crazier. So, you know, Lord forbid you attach your morality and your sense of self-worth in the Republican Party or the Democratic Party. And then they go like, how, you know, but it's millions of Americans that center and identify body politic wise with if they're Republican or Democratic. And this has nothing to do with spirituality, but a lot of people feel like, you know, they're really humans and they're about to really be in this world and change this world and make this world better, and they're never going to step away from it. And so where you have a level of evil people, you do have a level of good people who don't even realize that it's a damn game. It's a simulation. It's an illusion. It's a fugazi. Why do you say that? Because your soul is asleep. Your soul is not fully awakened, and your soul is the largest part of you. So dealing with this square, understanding cosmic order, understanding that the mind is all, understanding that the soul has to fully be engaged for you to fully continue to say I'm awake or I'm woke or I'm conscious, aware of the soul, aware of its complexities, aware of its ambiguities, if one would say, and beginning to move forward with that understanding in many different ways too. When I reference many different ways, I reference the idea of risk being reward, meaning that it could be lawyers with knowledge and information that could free people and help people, and they don't really tell people about it because they might get fired, or they might, you know, lose their prestige or get kicked off the bar association, so forth and so on. Doctors, you know, the list goes on and on and on. But as this energy becomes to impact and affect people in power, as we start to engage with our souls and awaken our souls, we will awaken to the reality that the Grand Theft Auto policemen, they ain't really police for real. They only police because we're in this particular construct, and that's the character that they're playing. That's the avatar that they're holding. And if one is to be bold enough to step out of that simulated world, step out of that matrix, step out of the Sims, step out of Grand Theft Auto, step out of Halo, step out of Call of Duty, there is a particular risk, because this world, this inundation of this illusion, is all you know, right? It's all you know. It's all you've been taught. It's all your mama know, all your grandma know. It's all they taught you. It's risky to step away from everything that you've been taught, and to look at everything that you've been taught as a lie, not because you're evil or bad, because you realize the simulative nature of it, the illusionary nature of it, the reality that you've never fully engaged or addressed yourself as a spiritual being, having a higher self. Thus, everything within the matrix is now the most important thing to you. But stepping away from that, very risky. And I'm deep into stepping away from what everybody told me I needed to do to be happy, to be successful. How you going to tell me about me? How the hell am I going to tell you about you? It's impossible. There's nothing, no degree, no white lab coat, no title, no matter how many crystals, how many jewels, how many locks, how many gallons of cocoa butter they got spread over their body. They cannot tell you about you, how many cowrie shells they possess, how many orishas, how much fire they got flaming around them, how many followers they have, how many people agree with them. Nobody can tell you about you. In order for you to deal with you is very risky, because you now have to correct everybody who had you fucked up your whole entire life. Actually, I'm not shy. Actually, I'm not a freak. Actually, I'm a big freak. I'm a big old freak. Like, you know. Just maybe who you are is much different than people had you painted out to be. It's much different than you realize your goddamn self. So now to step away from all of that, you mean I'm not this Grand Theft Auto character? Say swear to God, I'm not this Grand Theft Auto character. Nah, man, you just controlling it in your sleep. Damn. I'm controlling this character in my sleep, meaning I'm not controlling it at all. Nope. Who controlling it? The man. The government. Damn for sure ain't us. We not controlling it. Because we would be together. We would be helping each other. We would be creating civilizations and societies that benefit everybody, not just the chosen fucking few. But the ignorance of our ego's ignorance is the ignorance that we all sit and conversate about. And at a certain point, it's just going to begin to be dispelled. And I know these conversations that I have with y'all be very hard to really digest on a level that is not common. But I was talking about astrology when this shit ain't common. Now look at it. Everybody got a fucking, don't let a solar eclipse happen. Oh, everybody and their mama talking about it. So just be patient. Be patient. card of the week or card of the full moon is the devil. We're not going to forget about the devil. How could we forget about the devil? First off, devils and demons are Christian creations. There is no ancient folklore. There is no ancient understanding of a particular devil. It's purely to power the Christian mythos. So you have a lot of quote unquote spiritual people into demons because the demons help them get money, get love, and, you know, cheat codes in Grand Theft Auto. My thing is, if you got every cheat code known to man, why would you be in a computer simulated reality that you didn't create? Because it's fun. Okay. The devil is the enemy because the devil is brought on earth to tell you, hey man, ain't none of this shit real. It is consciousness in its material form. It is the word made flesh. It is the Christ consciousness. The devil is a play on words. The devil is just lived backwards. Is the opposite of death. Thus you have the devil and then you have Saturn that they want to. So the devil and Saturn, sometimes they get kind of confused, but they represent one and the same type of energy, one side of the spectrum. Physical sensations that lead to death or lead to enlightenment, but one and the same. The idea of the devil came from the idea of the scapegoat. Especially in post-colonial society where everything was going wrong. If something going wrong for everybody need an enemy. The thing about enemies is they really bring you close together. You know, I notice a whole bunch of people will get together to talk shit about me, and it's just like, damn, I'm really bringing people together out here, like really unifying the black man population, and they hate towards me. Obviously, what I'm doing is very problematic for their life, you know. Millions of things, billions of things people could be doing, but they'll sit and figure out ways to look at how this person is the problem for their life or is wrong or bad. And you could create and be and do damn near anything you want. This is Grand Theft Auto. Why would you just sit and just be in the area that you hate, or be around and look at things that you hate, or be exposed or deal with things that you hate when you could create and live and be in an endless world? So the devil within itself is an illusionary concept that is based upon Christian mythology. Devil is taken from the Greek god Pan, which just simply represents physical pleasures. More or less the overall acceptance of, hey, we all in Grand Theft Auto, y'all. Hey, ain't none of this shit real. If ain't none of this shit real, we could engage, but let's not forget that ain't none of this shit real. Play the game since we in it, but keep a level of understanding of your spiritual and physical. Balance that. That's why you have the masculine and the feminine at the feet of the devil. Masculine being a property of physical life. Feminine being a property of spiritual life. They all sit there. It's kind of extremely phallic too. So if you look at the phallic symbol, as I'm looking at the card, you see the two balls in the phallic. It's the same as the Shiva. Shiva has a phallus as well. I can't think of the name of it. I was always trying to figure out, well, how is this connected to Capricorn and that's connected to Capricorn, Shiva and the devil? Basically through the phallic symbol, through the balance of the masculine and feminine principles, the physical and spiritual world, the visible and the invisible. Can't be too spiritual now, nor can you be too attached to the mundane world. There has to be a overall balance of your dealing with this Grand Theft Auto shit. So if something ain't going right in your projection, is it the projection's fault, or is it something going wrong with your controller? Maybe you need a new controller. Maybe you need to, get a strategy guide. You understand what I'm saying? Look online, do some video tutorials, get into understanding the spiritual world from an abstract, from an objective perspective, because you do have a higher self. You have a masculine, you have a feminine, and you have a higher self. Your higher self is then transmuted and kind of sent through, and you show up in this world, masculine and feminine. You show up in this world with the higher self. It's just that we're not talking about the higher self in our everyday conversation. We're just looking to see what kind of private parts you got and to see if, they conducive with our private parts. And that's pretty much it. Is you fuckable or not? And that's how women looking at men, and that's how men looking at women at this point in time. I'm looking at people from a higher self perspective and trying to figure this thing out spiritually, not really into sexual shit at all. I mean, people be really acting or imagining that I am though, so I don't know what that's about. Even my wife, she mad at me because I keep bringing it up, but this shit hilarious to me. He said that I be out here acting single. I looked at her like, you just ain't never seen me single. That's why you saying that. I'll be really trying to do the family shit 1000%, but you know how it is. In conclusion though, finishing up, it goes as follows. Input equals output. The amount of energy you put into spiritual development through cultivating the soul, the more you're going to get out of it. Receiving equals giving. The more you give, the more you receive. If you feel like that's not good advice, you will not give and you will not receive. You'll cut yourself off. The more you can figure out how to give, the more people will be receptive, and the more that they think about giving, they'll think about you in the most inopportune times too. So don't expect of it to be all at once, or instantaneous. Sometimes you might just have to give. I done gave. Trust me, it'll come back. I know too many giving people at this point, and they don't be worried about shit. It's the stingy people I worry about. I feel so. Let's have a moment of silence for all the stingy people. Let's go into this quote. The bridge between science and spirituality begins with the heart. The heart is the regulator of our energetic state, working synergistically with the nervous system and the brain to bring coherence and positive emotion to life. It produces the strongest electromagnetic field in the body, one that extends all around us, allowing for energetic communication of this coherence with all of life. So, this electric, energetic, electromagnetic force field that you see around Shiva is all radiated from the heart. And from the heart, it creates this protective force field. And why would one be in a protective force field and not go anywhere? That defeats the purpose of protection, right? No need to protect something that ain't going nowhere, that's not exposed. So generally, by dealing with the heart and dealing with this protection, you are to move forward, you are to dance, you are to get in tune, get on rhythm, right? Black people, get on beat. White people, Puerto Ricans, Indians, get on the beat, no matter how hard it is. Catch it, then move with it. Do your little one, like, you know, if you can't dance, everybody got a little 1-2 step. You just gotta know when the snare hit, that's when you make your move. Hey, you know, you just get it down, you know, because this is life. Life ain't gonna stop because we stop or because we sad. So in the daily energy readings next week, and a week after that, we'll be discussing the mysteries of the heart, revelations of the heart, and bringing it to full surface. I'm gonna just read this one part because I like that. I really felt that part. It produces the strongest electromagnetic field in the body, one that extends all around us, allowing for energetic communication of this coherence with all of life. Thank y'all for watching, man. Really do appreciate it. My wife a travel agent. I don't think I told y'all that, but she is doing a momcation for as low as $352.52 per person. It's a cruise that leaves from New Orleans, goes to Mexico, and comes back. If you in the New Orleans area or the South area, or you in California, or if you in India and you want to come to New Orleans and kick it with my wife, I ain't going on the trip. I'm gonna be in New Orleans getting drunk, trying to get into trouble while she gone. But you know, all the mothers out there, it's in November. It ain't even a lot of money. It could be as low as $352 per person. Especially good if you in the area, just kick it, little cruise trip to Mexico. You know, that's still going down. It's happening, right? Momcation, right? Oh, we about to get interested. She said nobody interested, but that's about to change. All my New Orleans people, all my people in Mobile, all my people in Texas, let's meet up in New Orleans. The moms can go on a little cruise. The fellas, we can sit back, you know how we do. You know how we do. What's up, Blaxican? Yeah, peace from Taiwan. That's what's up, man. It's amazing how technology and YouTube connects us all over the planet, and that's one of the things that I don't take for granted, and one of those things that, you know, we have to really begin to fight for supporting each other. That's why I have a website, because when you have these particular platforms like YouTube and Facebook, and they see this connection growing, you know, they player hate. So be sure to visit me, hoodmystic.com. Be sure to support the movement any way you can. Little as $1 a month. Monthly moon sign readings. I don't know if my Patreon subscribers was on here at the beginning, but I will be beginning to do the monthly moon sightings on the 4th. Contact my wife too, Chauncey Ann on Instagram. help her support. She's trying to do the travel thing. We're trying to get people together. 352 for a cruise, that really ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? So people spend 352 on weed in a day. People blow that type of stuff. So just think about it. We'll be here till November. So it's a long time too. So you figure that's more than 3 months. So shit, less than, you could do $100 a month. Payment plans, or she even got a low deposit rate. So think about it. Contact her on Instagram, or if you need contact her, you don't got Instagram, you can email me at hoodmystic@gmail.com. We holding it down. www.hoodmystic.com, where we have the article. Also did another article. Reason why I didn't do daily energy readings this month, I had another article called Black History is Indian History, Volume 1. Sorted like 40 sources to compile a documented conspiracy between the United States government, Britain, its colonial powers, and the black population of the country. And everybody can be what they want to be except us. And why is that? So we getting back into that. We waking up all different types of energies. We moving forward in all different types of ways, legally, journalistically, in media. We fully awaken up, and we fully shutting down all of the propaganda and all of the lies, so we can move forward in truth and understanding of who we are. Because the original idea, a lot of original ideas, but one of the original ideas is that we're not doing this shit for us. We're doing it for these babies, so they can have a world to grow up in, a world to flourish in a world where they can connect to their ancestors. And so, that being said, I want to thank you guys for joining me. I'm gonna talk for 1 hour and 20 minutes. I apologize. I talked y'all to death. But yeah, man, much love for me, much love for my family. Until we meet again. This week, beginning Monday, we will begin on Revelations of the Heart. Daily energy reading is about to get crazy. So peace. Peace again.